Okay, here we go. We're going to solve quadratics using DESMOS. So we're just going to hop right over. Well, I'm sorry, you're not going to hop right over. You're going to write down what I'm doing on DESMOS. You're going to write it down on your notes, and then you're going to get a chance to hop over on DESMOS. All right, so let's say that we were given the quadratic x squared. So I'm going to put an x. I already pulled up the keyboard, so the keyboard's down here on Desmos. You just arrow up and you hit the a squared, it'll put a square there. So x squared minus 4. And when I do that, let's put the keyboard down, I see, oh, this is what a quadratic looks like when it's graphed. So what we've been doing when we've been solving is we've been, let's see if I can go back over to here. We've been saying, let's see, x squared minus 4 equals 0. And we've been really trying to find out, when does this quadratic equal 0? So this is an old part. We were not doing, this is not new. We would factor, this is the difference of two squares, right? And then we would set each of our factors equal to 0. And we'd be like, hey, guess what? This quadratic equals 0 when x equals -2 and x equals +2. So we already know how to do that. That's not the new lesson. The new lesson is, hey, let's look at DESMOS. And DESMOS gave us the answer, because where does this graph hit 0? Think about this y-intercept, or y-intercept as the height of the graph, right? And so when right here, I don't know if you can see my cursor as but right here you can see I'm kind of clicking on there. When x is 3, y is 5, the height of the graph is 5 when x equals 3. So when we are looking to solve, we're actually looking to say, where does the graph hit 0? Well, 0 is the x-axis. So we're going to look at where the graph hits 0 and hover over it, and look. It hits it at 2. All right, I know you see the 2, 0, right? And this is the -2, 0. So let's go back and understand what does that mean? Why? Because here I'm just having a -2 and I'm having a 2. Well, this is because this whole time we haven't been seeing this as a full-on function. You know, like y equals mx plus b? Well, this is y equals x squared minus 4. Y equals mx plus b describes a line. Whenever we have a square, this is describing a quadratic. So this is a function. So when we're giving x equals -2, the 0 is going to go along, because if we plug -2 in for x, what are we going to get for y? Well, -2 squared, that's -2 times -2, that's 4. 4 minus 4, 0. So once again, let's say this asked you to solve it, and you only put this, that is fine. That is fine. We're just really looking for what's the x value when y equals 0. So once again, all we have to do now, instead of factoring, we just put in the x squared minus 4, and we hover over, and we're like, oh, there's our answer, 2 and -2. All right, let's try this again. Let's do for the second one. The second one, let's go ahead and put in another quadratic. Let's do x squared plus 7x plus 10. Now, we could stop the video and we could factor and we could set it all equal to 0. We don't need to do that when we have DESMOS open. We just need to hover. Where does this graph hit 0? At -2 and at -5. So your answer, back here, would be x equals -2, x equals -5. You don't have to do any work, no factoring, nothing. Just get on DESMOS, put the quadratic in the box, bam, the graph comes up, and then you're just hovering over to see where it intersects the x-axis. Another way to do this is this. Just say, hey, when does x squared plus 7x plus 10 equal 0? And it's going to give you 2 lines. Those 2 lines, you just hover over. It gives us 0 when x equals -2, or x equals -5. So either way, either you do it that way, or just see the graph and you can clearly see -2 and -5. So cool. We're going to be doing this in class, and you know what I'm going to say. Practice, practice. All right. Thanks for joining me.